So let's open the node editor. I'm going to grab the spine IK. So add the selected. And I'm also going to grab the hip and the thorax controllers. We'll add those. We won't need the shape nodes, so we'll just keep these three. We'll hit P to pin. Let's clear. So I'm going to put the thorax here and the hips here. Expanding out these. And so we're going to open up the rotate here. And so for the hips, we're going to take the rotate Y, and we're going to put that into the roll attribute on the spline IK. Before I do that, let's select the spline IK. Grab the roll. That's going to essentially rotate it around. So the rotate Y will connect to the roll. And then the twist is going to give a twist to the thorax there. And so we are going to plug the thorax into the twist. Now if we do that, we're going to see that they're not working together so well. And so we need to kind of cancel out the roll of one, or compensate rather. And so we're going to do that with a multiply divide node and a plus minus average node. So let's hit tab, go to multiply divide, down arrow key, multiply divide. Let's open this up here. And when I make these connections, things are going to fly off and I'll have to put them back in place. Also a plus minus average node. Rename that spine. So the spine. So what we want is to, we're going to take the roll from the hips and we're going to bring it in to the multiply divide node. And let's go into input 1 of X. Like I say, that kind of throws everything about. And with the plus minus node, what we're going to do is going to take the rotate of Y for the thorax, and we're going to put this into this one here. Take these and put them back up with these unit conversions. we're going to take the output here of X and we're going to put this into the second option there. So the reason we have the multiply divide node is so that we can we're going to put the negative value from the rotate of the hips, and we're going to put that in to multiply divide so that we can make it a negative value, and then we'll put it into the plus minus average, and then we'll just add the two together. So if we go to the attribute editor, we're going to multiply by -1, and we're just using this input 1 X. X is just considered a slot. And then I'm going to need to unhook that twist. And for the plus minus average, what we're going to do is take this input of D. We're going to check this, and we're doing a sum. Take the D down here and put this into the twist. Again, Maya's got this very strange way of behaving as opposed to other modern node editors. Okay. So we'll test this out, make sure this works okay. So now when we rotate the hips, it's going to rotate independently. And that's for the roll. And if we rotate the thorax control, then that's giving a rotate all the way down the spine. So again, we took the negative value from the rotate Y for the roll. Through the multiply divide node, we can give it a negative value. We're going to add that with this plus minus average node. And we'll add those two values together, plug it into the twist, and so then we can isolate them. So I'm going to rename this tab to twist. I'm also going to make a bookmark for twist. And the bookmarks are very handy because then you can get back to them. Actually, I'm going to go to the bookmark editor, and I'm going to delete that bookmark because what I want to do here is just make sure all these new nodes, press P to add the pin. Now I'll add the bookmark. So twist. Now I can save, move on to the next step. So now I've set the twist up, and so now what I'm going to do is make a new tab here. I'm going to rename this to scale. And now what I'm going to do is set up the scale so I'm going to take the spline curve and I'm also going to take the IK joints and I'm going to arrange these just so I can work with them a little easier. Now I'm going to use the shape node for this one. So let's pin that. Let's pin the joints. Let's hit the 3 key to expand them. Let's clear what we're not using and expand this one as well. So what we're going to do here for the scale is we're going to get the length of the curve. And when we pin the curve, what's going to happen is that, so when I move this controller, since the cluster is parent constrained to the controller, that's now stretching the curve. So I want to take that curve stretch or the curve length info, and I'm going to use that to mathematically scale the IK joints. So we'll just show the IK joints here. So I'm going to hit tab and I'm going to look for curve info. Now I've got a lot of curve utility nodes, so I'm going to use the down arrow and I'm going to go through them. And that's what I need right there, just the curve info. So let's expand that. I'm also going to need a multiply divide node. Expand this one as well. So I want to get the arc length. Now, I don't have that on an input side here, but what I can do is go down to the world space matrix there, and I'm going to take this and I'm just going to plug it into a little circle there, and then I'm going to click on other, and what I need here is the input curve from the connection editor. Now I'm going to take the arc length and I'm going to plug this into input 1 of x. And so this gives me a length. It's a dynamic value. And so this number here is the length of the curve. So I'm going to copy that value. I'm going to open up the attribute editor. Let's go to the multiply divide node. And so here for the second value, I'm going to plug in the number. And so what I'm going to do is make this a divide operation here. And so by dividing the joint length by the original length, we'll be able to plug those numbers into the scale. All right, so I'm going to open up the scale on these. Now, our joints are oriented in X, so all we're going to need to do is scale from the X here. Maybe not from the X, but just scale the X. Okay, so hopefully that's all working right. I didn't have rotation values, and so those rotation values will cause those extra nodes to come in. So let's pin these new nodes. Now let's create a bookmark. And we'll call this one Scale. And let's check our work and see if it works. So if we grab the controller, pull it up, we are indeed getting a scale. We can rotate to get the twist. We've got an independent hips. And this will allow us to rotate from the mid-spine. And I think I'm also going to, let's bring the other skeleton back on. I think I'm also going to do a, grab this joint here. Turn my joints on. Okay, I was going to do an orient constraint, but it looks like I've already put that on. So let's look at spine 3. Yeah, so spine 3 has a parent constraint that was already put on it earlier. I think what I'm going to do is delete that. And I'm going to take this and parent constrain it to the controller here. So now if I rotate that down, it's going to rotate a little bit more with the controller. And now we've got ourselves a pretty snazzy IK spine. One thing though, I'm going to check on my spline IK here. I'm going to go into the attribute editor. So in the attribute editor, when I created this IK spline handle, I did that with ease in, ease out. I'm just going to check linear and see how that works. I think I'll go ahead and leave it on that. So that is the controller. That's how it works. So this will be the main control. And then independent hips. Mid control. And the top control. And anything else will just parent into this system here. Also look at locking and hiding joints. So we don't want to scale that, so let's lock and hide selected. This one we're also not going to scale that. Lock and hide selected. The hips we're only going to rotate. We're not going to scale the main controller. And we can move this one around if we want, just to give us a little more stretchy there. And if we wanted finer control, we could add a few more joints, or maybe add another controller or two. And maybe for the top one, just grab the top 2 CVs instead of the 3, and the same thing down here. This is a basic IK Stretchy Spine spline. Thanks for watching.